Hi everyone, I'm Stella CB. I'm a health and fitness coach for women in menopause, and I am the host of this Inspire show. And as you know, I always bring guests who can inspire you. Today, my guest is Kiara Loucks. She's a relentless business athletic professional. Kiara has lost 100 pounds in the last 11 years. So, Kiara, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
Uh, your life looks challenging. Can you tell me your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Challenging in a lot of ways. But I'm so thankful to be here today and have this conversation with you. So, I've navigated a lifetime of sports and business at fairly elite levels around the world. I grew up playing sports and nothing too serious, but I did want to go to college to play sports and ended up actually breaking two vertebrae in my back my senior year in high school and figured I would never play sports again. Ended up developing an eating disorder through that time. I went to college, was almost 235 pounds, and yeah, and never thought I would play sports, but walked onto the campus and the women's rowing team was sitting out looking for recruits for their team and had asked if I would want to try out. I ended up walking on to a D1 program and then making varsity and rowing all through college, fell in love with it, changed who I was as a person. And towards my latter years in college, I actually ended up moving to Poland, working the World Games, which is the counterpart to the Olympics. So all of the weird sports that don't go in the Olympics, they're at the World Games. And so I was working the event and just realized that I wasn't done with sport or it wasn't done with me. And so tried to figure out what I could do to compete at an elite level and not have done my whole life. And ended up through a quick Google search there in Poland, found bobsled and had no clue what it was, but found out that they have essentially a combine like the NFL does, where they look for athletes to recruit based on capabilities. And that was in Park City that year. It was actually an Olympic cycle year for winter sports. It was 2018. And I flew back to the States and drove to Utah and sprinted and jumped and all sorts of things. And I had never done before. And shocker, didn't make the team. But I ended up messaging the head coach for the US at the time and telling him I would give everything I had to move to the Olympic Training Center and just try give it everything I have. And he thought that was pretty interesting. So I ended up moving to the Olympic Training Center in Tennessee at the time, trained with a bunch of Olympians as they were coming back from Beijing that year, and just fell in love with it. I was a pilot, and so I would drive the bobsled. Ended up competing across the US and Canada and Switzerland. Competed for Canada for a small period of time as well at the amateur level. And then got a pretty bad head injury. So got a traumatic brain injury while I was in Switzerland. I crashed at 120 kilometers an hour and couldn't read or write for a while and thought again that I was going to be done. About the same
Mm.
time my career was taking off, I'm a strategist in paid media and had actually secured it in 2020 one of the presidential campaigns. So moved to DC, spearheaded
Mm.
all of our political efforts in DC and had a really tough time there as well. Just not totally my tribe of people, and ended up actually enduring a sexual assault while I was in DC. And then COVID hit. And so I moved home. I was just really not doing well. And so moved back to Colorado. And shortly after I got back, met the love of my life. I was also supposed to move up to Bozeman,
Mm.
Montana. Yeah, so I had wanted to find a new place I could call home after DC that was refreshing and more in line with who I am and had picked Bozeman. So I was supposed to move and then met my now husband 2 days before I was supposed to move. And we were making long distance work and then he got orders to move to Italy and we kind of decided 7 months in it was do or die. And so we got married. I moved across the planet and moved to Italy with
Okay.
him. Yeah, it was an adventure. And then shortly after we moved, the Ukraine conflict kicked off, and he no notice deployed. So there was no contact, didn't know where he was or when he was coming back or if he was still alive. And so, again, was not doing super well and moved home. And shortly after I got home, ended up getting back into just casually weightlifting, kind of some bodybuilding, and then found Olympic weightlifting. Ended up competing in Olympic weightlifting and doing very well here regionally, and only took second to an actual Olympian. And just fell in love with competing again and wanted to find what was my niche. So kind of dabbled again in Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting. Then I found bodybuilding and I just have absolutely fallen in love with it. So now competing in figure and bikini across the country, doing very well. And it's really propelled this shift out of tech, which is really where I work in consulting as a strategist, to more of this focus on health and wellness and how I can share my story and how health and fitness have really been the bedrock I've been able to lean on when times get really hard to endure those hard times. So, in this transitionary period now, where I've been very fortunate to partner with brands and large personalities in the space, continue competing, and really exploring the space of how I can be of the most service to people to offer insights on getting started and where do you go once you start, how to kind of start building momentum in your life because our health is really pivotal for success in every other every other area of our life. Excuse me. So, yeah, it's been an exciting journey, and I honestly feel like we're just getting started. So, now that bodybuilding is kind of kicking off, it's just opening all of these doors in my life for different ways to serve people. So, just been very humbled and excited. So, hopefully, that was a helpful insight and roller coaster.
Yeah. Your life is really challenging and you were doing everything. And how many countries did you live?
Oh my gosh. I think in my life I've lived in 8 different countries. And so I've been all over.
How was living in these different places
Mhm.
shape your perspective on life, health, and
Yeah.
future?
Yeah, so I think when we live in our own bubble, it's easy to make assumptions about what is most important to us, to other people, just assumptions, period. It's easy to make those when we're not exposed to other environments. Having lived in several different countries and states and cultures, it's really opened my eyes that we're all the same. We all want the same things. We all function very similarly. And so understanding those consistent themes and how, for me anyway, it's really driven me back to health because much like music or dance or you name it, movement and health and fitness slash nutrition are really universal languages and they're important no matter where you live. They may look different. It may be a different expression, but it's this incredibly important, consistent theme that we all share and is really a cool launching point to get to know people, to share experiences with people. You don't have to speak the same language as someone to necessarily cook with them or shop in their grocery or move with them. So if you're in a gym in a different country, you don't have to speak the same language to respect one another, to enjoy that time together and really bond beyond language.
And which kitchen did you like most from
Which country do I
countries
like
where you live?
most? Oh, I
Which
haven't
diet?
li
Yes.
I haven't lived there, but I would in a heartbeat if I could. Norway. I love Norway. So
Really?
we went up and spent some time up there just last year, and it was just amazing. So,
And what are they? What's your favorite dish in Norway or in other country you lived?
what's my favorite what?
Dish meal.
Fish? Ooh, great question. That's really hard. Um, Okay, so this is off the wall, but I love goulash. So we've spent a lot of time in like Czech Republic slash Slovenia, that area of kind of Eastern Europe, and goulash is my favorite. It's like meat with like some gooey soup stuff and bread. It's fantastic. So,
Goulash is Hungarian
yep, there
dish.
you go. The one place I haven't been, but every other place has adopted their menu. So.
I am Hungarian. I'm lived in Hungary.
No way. Oh my gosh. I was gonna ask where you're from. Okay, so what's your favorite dish?
No, I
No?
don't like it.
That's not right. You can't be from
I
Hungary and not like
no,
goulash.
I like Mediterranean. I like Italian food. Mostly the fish, the
Mhm.
everything from sea.
Oh yeah, I love seafood as
Veggies
well.
and
So.
these things. Yeah.
Mhm. I can,
Hungarian dishes is not so healthy.
no, no, they're making dishes because people are cold and need to put fat on. So
Yeah. How was feel fat, fat when you were overweighted? Uh, how did you overcome all these challenges that you become again uh, fit
yeah.
and healthy?
Yeah, so honestly, looking back, I don't think I had ever been fit and healthy. Um, I failed so many times. So I think, like many people, men and women, I kept starting this weight loss journey, and they were always very extreme ends of the spectrum. So it was not eating, or it was eating ice cubes and lettuce, or it was a cleanse diet. And I would start all of these attempts to try to lose weight. I wanted to so badly, and I would fail. And I think looking back, I realized I had always wanted to lose weight because I hated myself. I hated who I was and how I looked and how I showed up in public. So I wanted to change that from the outside in. And I had it completely wrong. And I think most people do. And it's such a hard perspective shift. But as soon as I started moving and enjoying movement. So finding things that I truly enjoyed, which was hiking, lifting weights, biking, swimming. As soon as I started to channel my focus into movement, I started kind of showing up for myself in different ways and falling in love with who I was, who was able to show up and move. So it was this slow process of really falling in love with myself, learning how to eat to fuel myself versus punishing myself, and understanding that it wasn't going to be a quick process. So it took me a long time to get extremely overweight. It was going to take a long time to get out of that place I had gotten to. And so accepting that reality, falling in love with myself and making decisions because I cared about myself or because I cared about wanting to perform well in the sports that I was choosing, started sequentially adding up to momentum that led me to losing that weight, falling in love with that process, and then becoming a student of that process and of my body. So I think we look for answers outside of ourselves from coaches, from trainers, and we just hope that they understand everything we're feeling and can guess what we need. When at the end of the day, it's our body. We're going to be different than each other, and we're going to need different things. We're going to feel different things. So it's starting to become really attuned to my body, my needs, and then understanding how I can kind of play with those inputs and variables that made me feel better, which health or being fit at the end of the day is going to make you feel better. You're going to show up in a more energetic way. You're going to be more clear in how you think. So it's just this integrated process that it took me so long to figure out. And I think that's why I want to share it, is because it took me 11 years too long. And I would love to cut that process short for people.
Yeah, many women struggling with their weight. That's why asking. I was struggling when I
Oh,
come
really?
to menopause. I had just 10 kilogram, 20 pounds, or how it's about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I wasn't feel good. So I wanted to change it, and everyone said, "Oh, in menopause, it's normal. You don't have to worry. You look good and these things, you know." But I didn't want to accept because I didn't feel good. So
Yeah.
that's why I started my journey also. But it
Amazing.
was yeah, a little long.
And I think that
uh,
that's a really good note for people is that what feels good and makes you feel good at 20 is not going to be the same at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And I have a really fun event this Sunday coming up here locally, which is a women's lifting event. Just community event, whether you've ever stepped foot in a gym or not, come out and move. And we have women who are coming that are consistently showing up in the gym who are 82 to 85 years old. And those women would whoop your butt. Like they're in such good shape. And I think it's realizing that we don't have to age the way that we are sold that we have
mhm.
to age. We can age with grace, we can age with strength. And in fact, the best way to push off aging is strength. It's building muscle. It's taking care of yourself and maintaining the body you have to push off that atrophy as you get older.
Yes, and osteoporosis and all these things. That's why I also find the way how to work out,
Mm.
and this is my passion now to show to others also
I
to
love that.
move,
Yeah.
eat
Just
healthy and move,
don't
do
stop.
something, strength training and everything, because that is the like you said, the age
My
gracefully and age
my
healthily.
grandmother.
You need
Absolutely.
strength.
Yes, my
Yes.
grandmother is 100, almost 101 years old, and she still goes to group fitness classes. So if you
Wow.
think it doesn't help, let me
Yes.
tell
It
you.
has to be our future also,
Hmm.
but we
Exactly.
have to spread to the world, to
Exactly.
the women, that yes, we can do it. Not just me or you, anyone can do it.
Absolutely. Yep.
And what is your, let's say, morning routine? Uh,
Yeah.
what are you doing every morning?
It's a little extreme right now because I'm about to step on a stage in 13 days. Um, so normally it's not this crazy. I get up right now about 3:50 in the morning. And then I go do my cardio, and then I eat breakfast. I go to the gym, get my weightlifting done, and then I start work about 8 or 9. And then I work throughout the day and then get some of my accessory stuff done in the evening. That I don't recommend it. I think there are a lot of people in the health industry that say you should wake up at 2 a.m. and go to bed at midnight and, like just this crazy mindset that you should always be going. My routine, no matter what, I get 8 hours of sleep. I will fight for my sleep, so I go to bed at like 7:30 at night. And yeah, well, I'm fresher in the morning, so I'd rather be a morning person and just go to bed earlier. But in a season that I'm not getting ready to step on stage, I will still wake up at like 5, somewhere in there, a little bit more reasonable, go to the gym, get my stuff done, and then have a full day. I always integrate movement. I always integrate mindfulness. So I will sit in the morning before I do anything else, before I even look at my phone. I'll turn off my alarm and then I'll journal and I'll read.
Mhm.
And so those are my non-negotiables plus movement and water. So,
Yeah, it's what about your food? What are
um,
you recommend for it's if somebody is not competing, not going to competition, but if want to do workouts or do going to the gym,
mhm.
what do you recommend?
Yeah, so us ladies are really good at under eating, at not getting enough calories. So my recommendation is to understand what you need. And so you can look up different methodologies for kind of building that framework. At the end of the day, it can be intuitive. So do you feel like you're eating enough to be clear in your mind and to function physically throughout the day? That's a great starting spot if you don't know. If you're feeling lethargic, if you're feeling like you're eating too much, then you probably are. So like just dialing into our hunger cues. So if you're hungry, eat. If you're full, stop eating. These very simple principles that we've completely lost. Perfect starting spot. Outside of that, leaning especially hard on single ingredient foods. So whole foods, whether it's produce, meat, fish, or if you have alternative protein sources for vegans or vegetarians, awesome. Try to keep that label as simple and short as possible. So no added colors and sugars and artificial sweeteners. Stay away from those because at the end of the day, what a whole food menu will do is really start to eliminate a lot of that inflammation that for people who are overeating, perhaps they're inflamed. That's your body is swollen on a cellular level. So reducing inflammation will help kind of start getting that weight down on the scale, eating in line with what you need. Yeah, so that's really about it. Right now, I'm definitely in a different situation with prep, but I still throughout the year keep it consistent with lots of protein. So in addition to under eating, women typically don't get enough protein throughout the day. So really kind of adding that emphasis and understanding what you should be getting, what protein sources truly are. So it's not peanut butter, talking about like chicken and fish and beef and tofu and tempeh, like different sources of true protein that we need to educate ourselves on. And I have resources on my Instagram if you want to come find me out there for free, just to help people understand kind of where to go for those and how to start building your own menu.
Mm-hmm. Yes, protein, that's the most important. I usually say the same because really women don't eat enough protein.
No, I think we're
They
scared of it. We don't understand it.
yes, because our muscle need it, and if we don't eat protein, we will be weak. And
Mhm.
after 40, 50, we really need to stay strong for
Absolutely.
the
And I
next
think
decades of our life.
absolutely. And I think a lot of the population sees protein and weightlifting as if they're going to get bulky or a look that they don't want. But I think it's important to remember that your metabolism will work faster and more efficiently if you have muscle. So adding that muscle, even if it's just small amounts to your system, supporting that with protein and resistance training, you will have a leaner look than if you are not getting enough protein and not moving weight at all.
So what do you recommend? Let's say three things if somebody want to change their food and lifestyle, want to start to move. Uh, what is your, let's say, three most important thing? How can they start?
Yeah. Um, not one of the three, but keep it really simple. Like keep it so simple because I think everyone overcomplicates it and that's what stops us from starting. But just start and keep it simple. So, number one, find movement you enjoy. Like I said, it doesn't have to be off like right out the gate, you're going to the gym and lifting weights. It can be going for walks. It can be going for hikes. It can be getting the bike out. It can be playing with your kids. Super simple. Just start consistently moving. Number two, go outside, get outside time, get away from your screen, get away from your typical routine. Try to break it up because if you're outside, you're probably moving. Sunshine is also great for you. So get outside. So get moving, get outside. And number three, whole foods. So going back to what we just talked about, if you don't know where to start with cleaning up your diet or trying to lose weight or any of those things, start eating whole foods and understand that any of these three pieces or bigger picture, any of the weight loss tips and tricks should be a lifestyle. If you are seeing something that's going to change your life in 20 days or someone's selling you a package like that, that's not it. And that's not what you should be after spending your time and energy investing in. You should be looking at sustainable lifestyle patterns that work for you, that support movement and nutrition.
Yes, I agree. Um, let's say somebody has so many challenges like you had in your life. What uh, everyone has a self-talk. and doubting themselves or something, uh, and everything about it they telling to themselves.
Yeah.
Um these self-doubts, how did you overcome it? What can you recommend to others how to overcome
Yeah.
it?
It's not always easy, but the thing that has saved my life truly over and over again is choosing to get up and move. Even if you're still in your feelings about what's happened, or if life is still chaotic, showing up for yourself, whether it's going for that walk, or it's going to the gym, or it's eating whole foods, these really simple principles that we just talked about, doing those simple things is a way to prove to ourselves that we can do this. Like we are still in control of the controllables, even if life is a mess. So it's taking control of those things, executing on them consistently. And even if you are not okay, it's seeking help and reminding yourself that you are the person who will overcome this, even if you haven't yet. So, self affirmations and self talk like, I am rich or I am not dealing with this problem anymore, don't work because you're lying to yourself in the mirror. So, it's being honest with yourself, but saying to yourself, I am the person who will figure this out and be better on the other side.
And journaling, I think. What do you
Yes.
think? Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a stack of probably 50 to 100 journals this thick from the last 10 years of my life. And that's absolutely where I go when life gets hard. It's me and myself. And it forces you to organize your thoughts and actually be attentive to how you're talking to yourself because you have to write it out. And so that's super helpful. Absolutely.
Yes. What's the biggest thing you wish people would understand and apply?
Mm. I wish people would understand that it's okay and it is your duty to love yourself because we cannot show up for other people. We can't show up for ourselves if we don't love ourselves. And it takes time. I think this is truly the first time in my life in the last year or two that I've been able to look at myself in the mirror and truly say, I love you and I'm proud of you. And so there are people who live their whole lives and never do that. And I think as society, we've made it weird almost to say that you love yourself, but it doesn't have to be. It's truly something we need to all understand and apply because then we start making those decisions out of love for ourselves, not hatred. And we show up in a completely different way, whether it's health and fitness or your relationships or your job. You're going to show up as the best version of yourself when you can truly say you love yourself.
If you could go back in time and you could change something, or just you could give advice to your younger self, what would
Yeah.
it be?
There are a lot of things I think I at one point wish I could have changed, but that would mean I'm not who I am today. And no matter how painful those were, no matter how much I may have hurt someone else with a decision I made at some point in my life, we all have, I wouldn't change it because I learned from all of those things. I hate to beat a dead horse. The one thing I would have told myself at 7 years old, at 10 years old, at 18 years old, at 21, whatever age it was to love yourself right where you're at. You don't have to change anything to accept who you are and love who you are and start making decisions from that place. My only regret in this life is that I probably spent 25 years too long hating myself. And that's a very common thing. And so not wasting that time because that robbed me of relationships, both with myself and other people. It robbed me of opportunity and it just robbed me of a quality life experience. And that's what we're all here for. So that is the one thing I would have told myself.
um And what is your message to my listener for women over 40?
I think women of any age, it's okay to start something new. It's okay to be bad at it. It's okay to fail. It's not okay to quit. And so if you've tried 100 times to lose weight, try it one more time. It's a matter of showing up no matter how difficult it is. And I think women are especially good at this. We're very resilient creatures, but it's reminding everyone that if you've never walked into a gym, but you want to get fit, you're going to have to face that first day. And you don't have to be fit to walk into a gym. You just walk in and realize that no one's looking at you as much as you
Hmm?
think they might be. No one's, sitting there critiquing you. They're looking at themselves just like you are. And so understanding, like I said, it's okay to fail and fail and fail. It's not okay to quit, especially on your health, on yourself.
Nice. Yes.
Hard.
And what is your dream for your future?
I got big dreams. And I think that's another thing that you don't get to have if you don't love yourself. So those dreams come when you actually step into your power and own who you are. So I have dreams of stepping onto the Olympia stage as a bodybuilder. I have dreams of competing in Dubai in the Middle East. I have dreams of launching my corporate wellness consulting firm, helping large populations really understand how to apply these very basic principles on a daily basis. I have dreams of paid speaking on these subjects, whether it's adversity and overcoming that or health and wellness, all of the above. Have dreams of hosting wellness retreats around the world. So I think there are a lot of really exciting opportunities coming to my doorstep, and I'm very excited.
I wish your dream come true.
They will, man. Not a doubt in my mind.
Uh, Thank you so much. I will put down your how they my listener can reach you,
Perfect.
but you
Absolutely.
can say if you want on your
Yeah.
website.
Yeah. So honestly, I am just putting out value right now as I'm exploring all of these streams and what comes first. So go follow me on Instagram. That's going to be the most content. So if you don't know where to start and you just want tips and tricks, please follow along. I also have pictures of my journey. So you can see I wasn't born fit, nor does it run in my family. It's something I've had to fight for. And I think we need to see more of that. So go follow me on Instagram. It's kiara.loucks at instagram.com. It's just at Kiara Loucks. Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was so interesting conversation. I really
Absolutely.
enjoyed it.
Me too. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.